Hi, and welcome to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm making French toast. My sister Elizabeth Jane, whom I have collaborated with before, so I'll leave our Nanaimo bar recipe video down below. She requested that I do a video just about my basic French toast recipe. So today's the day. Elizabeth Jane was explaining to me that a lot of the recipes she uses that have been created by restaurant chefs suggest that after you cook your French toast, you finish it in the oven just to make sure that it's cooked through. And I feel like that is a little excessive. My secret is that I cook them low and slow on my griddle. So you're not gonna get that kind of crusty, eggy exterior without cooking them all the way through. They're gonna be nice and evenly cooked. So let me show you how I do it. Usually when I'm making my custard mixture for French toast, I'll use a glass pie dish, or today I'm gonna use an 8x8 glass baking dish. Just because I'm making, I think, a whole loaf of bread today, I wanted the dish to be deep enough so I can whisk it easily without making a huge mess. So we're starting with our eggs. And I usually use 1 egg per 2 slices of bread. So I'm gonna make about 12 slices of bread today. So I'm using 6 eggs. So I'm just gonna crack them into my glass baking dish here. I always like to start with my eggs first because then I can whisk them together very thoroughly without splashing the milk and all the other ingredients all over the place. You don't want any large bits of egg in your custard mixture. You want it to all be nice and smooth and evenly incorporated. So now my eggs are thoroughly whisked together, so I'm gonna add in my milk and a little bit of half and half. The half and half is totally optional. It just makes your custard a little bit richer, but I had it in my fridge, so I'm totally gonna add it in today. So I tried to measure this out for you today so I could share as exact of a recipe as I could. To be honest, I usually just sort of eyeball everything with my French toast, but right here I have about 1.5 cups of milk that I'm gonna start to add into my eggs, and then we'll top it off probably with another 1/2 cup of half and half, but I wanted to measure it so I can kind of see how much I'm using and report back to you. Next, I'm adding a couple tablespoons of white sugar and a sprinkling of cinnamon. Now, because it's the fall, you could also substitute pumpkin pie spice for the cinnamon, which would be such a wonderful warm flavor. And I'm gonna link to a video that I recently did down below where I included a recipe for homemade pumpkin pie spice. Today I'm using this super delicious, slightly sweet brioche bread. It's nice and buttery and dense. I just got this at Aldi, but I've seen it at my regular grocery store too. It is so perfect for French toast. I use this for French toast casseroles too. I love it. You can also just use plain white sandwich bread. That is classic, it is delicious, and you can totally go for it. I also like doing this with other kind of sweet loaves of bread, like maybe a cinnamon raisin bread, or this time of year there's pumpkin swirl bread, whatever sounds good to you. The trick is you want to soak it long enough that the egg custard gets all the way to the middle of your bread so it's not dry in the middle, but you don't want to over soak it so that it's falling apart. So especially with those seasonal flavored breads like the cinnamon raisin swirl and the pumpkin swirl, just be very careful that you don't over soak them because they're very thin and they can fall apart pretty quickly. So now we're gonna dunk our brioche bread. Before I dip my bread in the egg mixture, I do want to prep my griddle. This has been preheating over about medium-low heat for several minutes now, and I'm gonna butter it. We want somewhere for our French toast to land as soon as it's been soaked. All right, so that's ready to go. So now we're gonna soak our beautiful brioche bread. So I'm taking 2 slices at a time, and I'm just gonna dunk them in my egg mixture. Now this bread is a little bit thicker, so it might take a little longer to absorb the liquid. And then I'm gonna flip them over. Okay, and I can tell just by my fingers the bread's starting to soften up. All right, and then I just like to let any excess kind of drip back off into the dish, and then we'll transfer them over to our griddle. My French toast cooked for about 2 minutes on the first side, and I just flipped them. Now, the heat is not totally even on my griddle, so I might have to shift them around a little bit, but they're looking perfect. They're nice and golden brown on the outside, but they still feel really pillowy soft, which is exactly what I'm looking for in my French toast. I never want it to be kind of crispy or dry. It has to be nice and soft. And my kitchen smells so warm and cinnamony. I love it. One other thing that I like to do with my French toast, if I feel like maybe I had a little bit too much egg mixture on the bread, is just use my spatula and press down on the bread while it's cooking. That way it squishes any of that extra liquid out of the bread and it cooks on the griddle top. This doesn't happen too often, but it's just a little tip in case that happens to you. My French toast turned out golden brown and ever so slightly crisp on the outside, and then pillowy soft and almost custardy on the inside. It was perfection. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at Anne's Family Recipe, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked what you saw here today. Thank you so much for joining me today in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon with another family recipe.